people come onto the healing journey believing that something's wrong with them. They think that they're broken, wounded, too sensitive, too much, too emotional. But what if that's not actually why you're here? What if that's not why you're on the healing path? What if you didn't arrive here because something was damaged? But what if you arrived because something in you was powerful and you were taught to be afraid of it? What if you arrived thinking you didn't have to fix yourself? A lot of the reason that people don't heal, or they don't eventually get to destiny spaces when they heal, is their original intention. We understand that going through difficult situations or going through woundings, we look back and we say, well, yeah, that's the thing that led me onto my healing path because I wanted to heal myself. I wanted to feel better. I didn't want to be sad anymore. I didn't want to have to deal with that pain anymore. And that's great. I'm so glad that that brought you to a healing path where you realized you could have support and you didn't have to feel that way every day of your life. But remember, your original intention for stepping onto the healing path was, I don't want to be sad anymore. I don't want to be depressed anymore. I don't want to be addicted anymore. And then you heal to that point and the cycle just begins to start over because you fulfilled your intention. And now what? Now what? It's just like when we do our healing and we have affirmations. I always tell people, get really, really big affirmations like I am the sun, because that's something you can't ever outgrow. But the majority of people without guidance, if they're trying to give themselves an affirmation for their personal self-worth, they're going to say something like, I am enough. Especially after a healing session, that's what people go to. I am enough. Great, you're enough until what? And then what? Because I am enough is something that can easily be outgrown. You're enough for what? For who? For where? We want something big. Freud said that most people aren't actually afraid of the things that they think they're afraid of. What they're really afraid of is their success, is themselves, their inner power, who they could be if they didn't have all of the junk and all of the blockages inside of themselves. Which leads me to believe maybe all of the blockages and all of the junk and all of the past wounds are still existing because the ego self is too afraid of its own power. And that brings us to self-trust. I want to back this up for 2 seconds here. Because power. The ego self, what it does is it keeps us in familiar situations. That's part of the ego. That's part of being human. And the ego self will keep you returning to unsafe situations just because it's familiar. So while your ego self, your human self, is wired and rigged to keep you safe no matter what, it will put you in dangerous situations just because they're familiar, because they're predictable. Isn't that interesting that the ego mind equates safety with predictability? And if you are coming into your full power, if you're becoming someone you've never been before, that's not predictable to the human mind. And so it's unsafe according to our humanness. And so our ego will block it and say, no, I can't be that. I can't go there. I can't do those things I've never done before. I can't be my most powerful version of self. I can't be that successful because it's not safe. It's not predictable. What if something happens? What if? And the ego self knows that if I am that powerful, if I am my full self, if I unleash my full fire inside, it knows everything's going to change. My life will change. My relationships will change. My home will change. Everything that I know is familiar and safe will change. And change is pretty scary to the ego mind. Keep that in mind. The other part of this is that intention we talked about. We stepped in with the intention to not be depressed anymore, or to not struggle, to not suffer anymore. And when we reach our limit with that, we keep cycling in the healing cycle. My associate teacher one day told me, love you girl, she said, sometimes I feel like I need healing from the healing, because you can heal too much. What a concept. You can heal too much. We never quit healing. Okay, we never stop being on the healing path and the healing journey. We never stop trying to be better than we were yesterday. We never stop trying to be more authentic, to be more connected, to be more loving and kind and powerful. Those things don't end. We are always looking back and finding things that we can resolve within ourselves according to where we're going now and in the future. And sometimes we need a mental reframe. Sometimes we need to step into this and say, I'm on the healing path because I want world peace. I'm on the healing path because I want everyone to know what it feels like to be loved. I'm on the healing path because I want everyone to be successful. I want everyone to have a home. I want everyone to work together. There are really big things that we can intend that can bring us through the healing path for the rest of our lives and not keep us cycling in just enough and then back into trauma. We need big intentions. We need to stop being afraid of ourselves and who we could possibly be. There's also a part of this that keeps people from even starting their healing journey. This sometimes tends to be a more masculine trait, but there are people who we can clearly see want help. They're clearly asking for help. And then when you say, well, hey, why don't you come on this healing journey with me? They say, I'm not broken. I'm not broken. And so they don't see a therapist. They don't see a healer. They don't do the things that could actively help them, mind, soul, and body, because they're not broken. Congratulations, baby, you nailed it. You're not. You're not broken. And the healing path can show you how you're not. The healing path can show you how to unleash your power, your biggest version of you. That is what the healing path does. Because when people start healing, they believe the goal is to be calm, to be stable, to be regulated, and to be okay. But that's not the destination. That's just the doorway. Healing doesn't exist so you can stay small and live comfortably, although we want to have a happy life. Healing exists so you can become dangerous to limitation. Now that we've established that healing isn't about fixing yourself, but rather it's about removing the fear that blocks you from who you could become, I want you just to write down this little 2-step process. Step number 1, set a big intention for getting on the healing path. I'm talking colossal intentions. Okay, we're not getting on the healing path because we're broken, we need to fix something about ourselves. I'm talking, I want you to write down destiny stuff, dharma stuff, okay? I'm on the healing path because I want to reach my destiny, because I want world peace, because I am hungry for holiness, for something sacred. I want the world to be sacred ground. That's why I'm here. I want the world to be sacred ground. I want to step out onto this planet, into the grass, into my yard, and it feel like I am in a holy temple, face down, bliss up. And this is what I want. Set a big intention for being on the healing path. And what is the healing path? What is it to you? The healing path we established is just about removing those blockages, removing the fear that keeps us from being who we could be. Fear being the opposite of love, that's overcoming all fear. So this is all about the healing path, all about stepping into love. Love, 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 love. Not just romantic love. This is the agape, expansive, connected to all things, all people, all creation kind of love. I am expansive. That's an intention right there, to be expansive. We want something big. That's the first thing, setting a big intention. And when you're on the healing path, this can look like many different things. This does not, absolutely does not have to look like just going to see a healer. This could look like seeing a healer. This could look like seeing a talk therapist. This could look like doing yoga. This could look like eating appropriate foods and exercising your body. This could look like not doom scrolling on your phone for 3 hours a day. The healing path has a lot of different elements to it that is mind, body, and soul. We want to care for our bodies appropriately. We want to care for our minds appropriately and be mindful of what we're putting into our minds. Even if it's just the news, being mindful of how much of that you ingest without being able to emotionally process it is important. Mind, body, and soul. We want to take care of ourselves emotionally. And this is where a lot of the healing that you guys are used to talking about comes in, because it's our emotions that drive us to feel sad or suffer or depressed or exhausted. These are all emotions. And these are the things that we process through on the healing path. So your healing path can look like anything you want it to look like. It's your journey. You get to pick. You have free will. If there's a part of the healing journey that you're used to that doesn't really resonate with you, you don't have to use it. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? Most people avoid their power because it costs something. Stepping into your power will cost something. When you're on the healing path, it might cost you some time, it might cost you some money, it might cost you some chocolate, it might cost you some energy. It's going to cost you something, and that's the sacrifice. Sacrifice isn't really difficult, guys. It's just a matter of will. It's a matter of how much do I know I deserve? How powerful am I? How much do I know that at the end of the day, this will be worth it for me? We avoid power because it costs us something. It costs approval. It costs belonging. It costs comfort. It costs the version of you that learned how to survive by staying agreeable. Because the subconscious is driven by behaviors around safety and acceptance. And power, personal power, threatens both of those things. People who are in their full power, they don't always feel accepted by everybody. We don't belong to everybody. Not everybody can handle our spice. And that's okay, honey. You can go get somebody else's spice. But I hope that we all have our own spice and our own fragrance. We're all so unique and have so much to offer. And when you are in your full power, you can connect to other people in their full power. And it creates this beautiful wave of energy over the earth. That's what we're here for, to realize who we really are and to live that expansively every day. Because when you step into your full self, you might outgrow relationships, some of them. You might disrupt family systems, hopefully. You might stop being controllable by other people. You might stop explaining yourself so much. Power removes invisibility. And that's scary because we don't want to be seen. We want to hide. If we make a mistake and we're invisible, no one can see that. No one can attack us. No one can tell us we did something bad or wrong or inappropriate, right? Everyone just wants to hide. And when you're in your full power, you don't get that luxury. And that's scary to the human mind, to the ego. We tell ourselves instead that we need more healing, right? We tell ourselves that we need more clearing and more fixing and more time. But sometimes healing becomes a hiding place. Because healing says, I'm still working on myself. And power says, I'm ready to be seen. And being seen can be terrifying. I admit that when we're going into places of leadership, we want to have done as much work as possible because we can only lead as far as we've already been. Otherwise, it's just a bunch of followers following each other, and no one really knows where they're following to. There are leaders of different levels. And as you commit yourself to your practice and to your work, you'll be leading yourself, your future generations, and even your family systems, whether you recognize it or not. Or maybe you're leading groups of other people, your friends, your community, maybe even internationally. But stepping into leadership doesn't mean you're perfect. It means that you're constantly trying to be good. You're constantly trying to be big, to be powerful. And don't mistake what I said. Being good, to me, doesn't mean being a good girl, because I'm not a good girl, okay? I do what I want. It's about loving. When I say being good, I mean what's loving, what's kind. And sometimes being loving and kind means pushing people to do things that they know they need to do. It means not rescuing them. It means showing up for them when they do need support. It's just about love. That's what it's all about. My personal power is being the biggest, most loving version of me possible. Letting my fire just burn, letting it be a bonfire that people can see for miles. You're not here to heal forever. Healing clears the ground. The fire burns away what was there so that you have that fertile soil. At some point, healing must turn into embodiment. At some point, the question shifts from what's wrong with me to what's trying to emerge through me. So the first thing you wrote down on your piece of paper is to set a big intention. The second thing I want you to write is be brave. Be brave. Be brave. We have to overcome that fear. We have to let the healing set that ground for what we want to build. So I want to ask you a question. Not what your career is or what you do for money, but what is your spiritual job? What's your spiritual job? I bet even certain healers out there who do this for a living don't really know what their spiritual job is. Your role in the collective body of humanity, because humanity functions the way a body functions. You have people who build structure, you have people who organize matter, you have some people who protect life, and you have some who create systems. There are light workers that tend to the flame. You have there's people who do all kinds of different roles. In fact, I bet you didn't even know what a light worker was. Everyone's using that term. Everyone's using the term light worker, I want to be a light worker. But do they know that those are the people who tend the flame, who keep the light shining, who shine that light all over the world? You can't shine a light if you're hiding. You can't shine a light if you're still invisible, darling. That's okay. That's okay. That's why we're having this talk. See? Everything's going to be okay. We're here to figure this out together. Don't worry. You just have to remember what the world forgets. We have to remember what the world forgets. That's what we're here to do. Your job isn't to save the world. It's to keep things holy, to keep things sacred, to stay awake when numbness is rewarded, to keep the wonder alive, to keep reverence breathing, to remind people that life is not just survival, that it's sacred. And when you become that person, that's when you have to be brave, because you will be seeing things clearly that other people don't see at all. They pretend they don't see, or they see and let it go because it's normal in society. And you get to be the person to say, I have to keep this holy and sacred, so that's not acceptable to me. That's not something I'm going to be okay with. This isn't in alignment with what belongs in this sacred space, because the earth is a church. And I'm here as part of this congregation to keep it holy. Do you ever feel that hunger inside? That insatiable hunger in the pit of your stomach? Like you're waiting for something, longing for something, and you can't even express it. You don't even know what it is. That's what it is. It's that full power version of you wanting to come out, wanting to live in sacredness. Even just think about that word sacred, what that means. Something that is holy. And what does that even mean to you? And I want this to be, I'm not going to give you definitions this time. I want it to be something that's in alignment with your personal beliefs. Because to me, this is love. To me, this is stepping into a space that's all about love, collaboration, just cycles of life. Life to me is sacred. And when I step outside, this is what I feel. Love, fullness, collaboration, love for humanity, love for life, love for the planet, love for the animals, love for everything there is. Hope, peace. These are things that I want to find in my sacred spaces. And being able to see clearly and to not let things be swept under the rug, to not let myself be invisible, this requires that second step of bravery. Because people will push back. If I clearly call something out, they're going to say that didn't happen. They're going to gaslight me. They're going to tell me that's crazy. They're going to tell me I'm a psychopath. They're going to tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about and I'm stupid. They're going to try to make you feel stupid sometimes. And you get to stand in your power, knowing that you are creating a sacred space, even if it's just right there where you stand, right under your feet. You've created a sacred space, darling. And that's what you're here to do. That's your spiritual job in whatever role you do it in. Whether you do it as a light worker, keeping that flame, raising that light up high and being seen, or whether you do it by helping your community members. However you do it, whatever your role is, and I want you to really think about that. And I want you to think about it in a big way. In a big way doesn't mean you have to go out to other countries or start a YouTube channel. You can do small things in a big way, meaning that you don't discount the things that you already do. Because remember, that's the whole point of everything that we're talking about today, is that your mind will say, I can't help, I can't do anything big, I'm not powerful, because that change is scary. But you're already doing things. And I want you to let yourself see the things that you're doing, the role that you're already playing, and how you can consciously and intentionally play that role so that you're creating that sacred space. Because like Kendrick said, they will beat the crap out of you, hide the Bible right before God. And you have to be the one to say, I saw that. I saw that. Even if I can't do anything about what happened, I saw it. I peep you. You're not hiding from anybody. Everything is coming to light. Even right now as I speak, the light is coming out and shining. Light is coming. Light still lives here. And we're all supposed to be playing a role in the sacred holiness of this. Now, when we're looking at our spiritual job, spirit rarely gives us the whole picture all at one time. It gives us one step. And then when we take that step, we're given another step, and then another, and then another. Not because our guides are withholding from us or because we can't see the big picture. It's because certainty kills hunger. That hunger that you have, if you knew exactly what was going to happen in the future, if you could see the big picture, that hunger wouldn't be there anymore. In fact, if the world was already at peace, that hunger wouldn't be there. You'd have no role. You'd have no job to work towards. You'd have nothing to create, nothing to strive for. And we'll get there eventually. World peace is coming. I see it. I see it, and it is possible in the 3D world. I lived a long time thinking it was not possible when you live in the 3D. Everything is too dual. But it is, and I've seen it. I've seen it. It's going to come. But right now, that hunger that you feel is your drive to get there. And we're just being given one little step at a time. And without that hunger, you'd stop seeking. You'd stop trying. If you knew exactly who you would become in the future, you'd stop listening. You'd stop asking. Hunger is what keeps your fire alive. Your hunger is what keeps those fires burning for sacredness and holiness. Longing is not a flaw. Curiosity is an immaturity. Hunger is holy. Wonder is not weakness. It keeps you moving. It keeps you lit up. It keeps you awake. And we've got to stay awake right now. We already went through the everyone's got to wake up phase. Those who are waking up, those who are going to wake up, are awake. We're awake right now. And now it's about staying awake. Now it's about really calling things out. Holiness is not perfection. It's presence. We have to stay present. We have to stay mindful. We have to stay vigilant. We have to choose to stay open when the world tries to harden us. We have to choose depth in a shallow culture. We have to choose love when fear would be much easier, just to fall back into those old patterns, just to fall back into something familiar. To not have to change, to not have to be seen. Choosing to feel instead of being numb is what we need to do here. And that's hard work. That's the job. So if you've been stuck asking, what's wrong with me? When can I stop healing? Or am I broken? Do I need to start? I want you instead to ask yourself, what am I afraid I could become if I stopped doubting myself? That's the question you're really wanting to ask yourself. If I stopped doubting myself right now, who could I become? Because fear doesn't block broken people. Fear blocks powerful people. You're not behind. You're not late. You're not failing your soul. You're standing at the edge of your becoming, healing, and clearing the ground. Now comes the fire. Your job isn't to be perfect. It's to stay awake. It's to be present. It's to be seen. It's to see and to call out others. It's to stay hungry. It's to keep life holy. Life is a holy experience. And we have to keep it that way. It's our job to keep life holy, to walk forward even when you can't see the whole path, because Spirit doesn't reveal the mountain, only the next step. And that step is enough. That next step makes you the mountain. Remember our affirmations. That next step, I am enough, No, that next step makes you the mountain because that's what you're climbing. Just one step at a time, though. You're not here to disappear into the healing and to keep repeating that cycles and going backward. You're here to embody what healing makes possible. The world doesn't need you smaller. The world needs you in your full power. Thanks for watching Earth and Star Spiritual Wellness Center. I'm Mary. We'll talk soon.